Good day, everyone. So we are the reporter for the Module 1 Fish Reproductive Biology. I'm with Mr. Adil Agan, Mr. Albani Simon, and me myself, Avenida Ian. So Mr. Adil Agan will talk about the anatomy, followed by Mr. Albani Simon, the physiology, and yours truly, the reproductive strategies.
So good day guys, anatomy. What is fish anatomy? Fish anatomy is the study of the form or morphology of fishes. It means yan yung form ng external and internal organs ng isda. Testes. Most male fish have two testes of similar size. In the case of shark, the testes on the right side is usually larger. So nag-iiba yung testes ng shark kaysa sa ibang species. The primitive jawless fish have only a single testis located in the midline of the body. Ito yung yung primitive jawless na yung midline ng sa kanilang katawan, doon yung nakalocate yung testes nila. Although even this form from the fusion of paired structure in the embryo. Under a membranous shell, the Tonica albuginea, the testis of some teleosis fish contains very fine coiled tube called seminiferous. Yung tube niya sa loob, yun yung doon lumalabas yung sperm. Oo, tama. Ay, bumubuo para ilabas. That's right. Tubules. However, most fish do not possess seminiferous tubules. Instead, the sperm are produced in spherically structure called sperm ampullae. Next. In terms of spermatogonia distribution, the structure of teleosis testes has two types. In the most common, spermatogonia occur all along the seminiferous tubules, while the aterinomorph fish, they are confined to the distal portion of these structures. Fish can present cystic or semicystic spermatogenesis in relation to the release space of germ cell inside to the seminiferous tubules lumen. In the ovaries, many of the features found in the ovaries are common to all vertebrates, including the presence of follicular cells and Tonica albuginea. There may be hundreds or even millions of fertile eggs present in the ovary of a fish and at any given time. Fresh eggs may be developing from the germinal epithelium throughout life. Then the ovary of teleosis is often contains a hollow lymph-filled space which opens into the oviduct and into which the eggs are shed. Most normal female fish, two ovaries in some elasmobranch. In the primitive jawless fish and some teleosis, there is only one ovary. Sa primitive jawless fish, guys, is nag-iisa lang yung ovary nila or pati sa some teleosis fish. Fish ovaries may be three types: gymnovarian, secondary gymnovarian, cystovarian. In the first type, the oocytes are released directly into the colomic cavity and then enter the ostium, then through the oviduct and are eliminated. Secondary gymnovarian, ovaries shed ova into the column from which they go directly into the oviduct. In the third type, the oocytes are conveyed to the exteriors through the oviduct. This is the example guys ng nung three types niya. Eggs. The eggs of fish and amphibians are jelly-like. Cartilaginous fish are fertilized internally and exhibit a wide variety of both internal and external embryonic development. Most fish the male inseminating the eggs after the female lays them. So dito guys, yung fish species found egg the fertilized externally kung nag-fertilize sila externally, pero pag typically with the male inseminating, pag yung babae na naglay sa kanila, yes, pag babae na naglilay sa ay sa lalaki, ini-inseminate na nila, ini-inseminate ng lalaki yung eggs. Tapos and then sa amphibians, sa amphibians lay their egg in water or protective foam as with the cosmones, tree frog, Cheromantis serampelina. So ito yung example ng amphibians guys na nililay nila yung itlog nila sa water. So this is also the example of the salmon eggs in different stage of development. In some, only a few cells grow on top of the yolk. In the lower right, the blood vessels surround the yolk and in the upper left, black eyes are visible. Ito naman this is the diagram of egg, the vitelline membrane, chorion, yolk, oil globule, perivitelline space, and embryo. Instrument organs. So dito sa male guys this male mosquito fish has gonopodium, an anal which function as an intermittent organ. Yan yung maliit niya sa baba. Yung sa ilalim niya nasa dibdib. Yan yung niya, intermittent organ. Yan yung extended organ. Tapos dito naman, this young male spinner shark has clasper, a modification to the pelvic fin which also function as intermittent organs. Same lang sila guys, pero sa shark parang clasper siya dahil sa niya, sa sa pelvic fins niya. Male cartilaginous fishes, shark and rays, as well as the male of some bearing prey fin fishes have fin that have been modified to function as intermittent organs, reproductive appendage which allow internal fertilization. In ray fin fish, they are called gonopodiums or andropodiums, and cartilaginous fish, they are called clasper. Gonopodia are found on the male of some species, the Annabellidae and Phocelidae family. They are annelphins that have been modified to function as movable instrument organs and are used to impregnated female with milk during mating. So dito sa gonopodia guys, pwede nilang igalaw yung extended organ nila or intermittent organs para hindi nila mabuntis yung kamate nila. The third Then the third and fourth, fifth race of the female's anal fin are formed into tube-like structure in which the sperm of the fish is ejected. Yan na yan guys, yung ini-eject ng yung yung sperm gamit yung tube palabas sa ejected na yung sperm palabas lang yun. Parang mag-iingat din sila. When ready for mating, the gonopodium becomes erect and points forward towards the female. The male shortly insert the organ into the sex opening of the female with hook-like adaptation that allows the fish to grip onto the female to ensure impregnated. So, so dito guys, pag ready na talaga, pag ang gonopodium, pag ready na talaga sila sa mating, dito na nila ini-ensure yung pagkabuntis ng female fish. Labas. If female remains stationary and her partner contacts her with gonopodium, she is fertilized. The sperm is preserved. The female oviduct. This allows female to fertilize themselves at any time without further assistance from males. If a female remains stationary and her partner contacts her with his gonopodium, she fertilized. The sperm is preserved in the female's oviduct. Then this allows the female to fertilize themselves at any time without further assistance from male. So pwede rin itago ng gonopodium fish female nga itago rin nila yung sperm sa kanilang oviduct para i-preserve lang para hindi sila pag any time na gusto na nila ma-pregnant, iaano lang nila sa kanilang sa para mabuntis sila, yun na yun. Similar organs with similar characteristics are found in the other fish. This is the gonopodium fish, guys. Ito na yun. Next. Clasper are found on the male of cartilaginous fishes. They are posterior part of the pelvic fins that have also been modified to function as intermittent organs and are used to channel semen into the female cloaca during copulation. The acts of mating in shark usually includes raising one of the clasper to allow water to into a siphon through a specific orifice. The clasper is then inserted into the cloaca where it opens like umbrella to anchor its position. This siphon then begin to instruct expelling water and sperm. Si Simon na po.
Hello guys. So ako yung magre-report sa physiology of reproduction. So first, what is physiology? Accordingly, fish physiology is the scientific study of how the component parts of fish function together in the living fish. So in this topic, hindi tayo maggugubian. So i-focus lang natin sa sa reproduction of the fish. So first bago tayo pumunta sa report ko, kailangan ko muna i-define itong mga term. So para at least hindi tayo mawala kung anong ibig sabihin nito. First, oogan niya. Ito yung an immature female reproductive cell that give rise to primary oocyte by mitosis. Next is oogenesis, the production or development of an ovum. So ooplasm, ito yung yolk of the ovum. Tapos yung oocyte, it is an immature egg cell. So ovum guys meaning hindi siya egg, pero pwede siya egg sa reproductive cell. Tapos yung individual ovum is visible naked. Nakikita siya ng dalawang mata natin. Yung ovum nakikita lang siya sa sa mga babae. Egg pa lang ovum. Hindi lang siya egg. Egg siya. Ang ovum egg siya, egg. Organ development in teleos fish varies according to the group. So yung pagde-develop ng reproductive cell ng female, nagbabari siya according to the group. Bakit? Kasi some of the fish are hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodite means pwede sila maging babae, pwede rin maging lalaki in different phase ng kanilang buhay. So kaya nga, yung pagde-develop ng reproductive system niya, nagbabaris according to the group. Kasi merong mga isda ay lalaki sila pagkasilang, tapos as soon as they grow, nagiging babae sila. Kaya hindi siya kaya yung pagde-develop ng reproductive system niya, nagbabari talaga sa group ng mga isda. Tsaka yung determination of oogenesis, the determination of oogenesis dynamics allow the understanding of maturation and fertilization process. So meaning, the production of or development of an ovum, dito natin malalaman yung dito natin na-determine kung it may be oviparous, viviparous, and ano pa yung isa? Meron yun. Dito natin siya nalalaman sa oogenesis dynamics. Changes in the nucleus of plasm and the surrounding layers characterize the oocyte maturation. So kagaya na ang sabi, yung oocyte ay isang immature egg cell. Tapos immature egg cell. So you can maaari yung itanong sa akin yun na nga sa amin, paano natin malalaman kapag ang isang egg ay immature na o di kaya fertilized na. Sa pag-mature ng egg, the ovaries are further enlarged, tapos occupying almost the entire body cavity. Di ba nakikita natin especially sa mga ano ba yun? Yung goldfish, pag nabubuntis sila, ang laki ng tiyan nila. Tapos halos nakikita na yung iklog niya sa loob. So doon natin malalaman pag ganun na yung isda, so sobrang laki na ng tiyan niya, tapos translucent na yung body cavity niya, ibig sabihin nun, yung egg niya sa loob ay mature na. Sa fertilization naman, eggs can be either internal or external fertilization. In many species, fins have been modified to allow internal fertilization. Similarly, development of the embryo can be external or internal, although some species show a change that two or various stages of embryo development. Postovulatory follicles are structure formed after oocyte release. They do not have endocrine function present a wide irregular lumen and are rapidly reabsorbed in a process involving the autopsis of follicular cell. A degenerative process called follicular atresia reabsorb vitalogenic oocyte not found. This process can also occur but less frequently in oocyte in other development stages. Some fish are hermaphrodites, they have having both testes and ovaries either at different phases in their life. So ano yung sinabi ko kanina guys? Some fish are hermaphrodites. Mayroon silang testes at saka ovary. At isa na dito is ano, yung sa Finding Nemo, yung tatay niya, yung clownfish kung tawagin. So 'di ba sa Finding Nemo, naging nanay yung tatay niya sa 'di ba namatay yung nanay niya sa si Nemo, namatay yung nanay niya. So yung namatay yung nanay niya, yung naging nanay niya is yung tatay niya. Kasi nga yung clownfish isang ano, hermaphrodites. Tapos, saan na yung picture yan? Ayan. Ito yung example ng ano guys, post-ovulatory follicles. Nare-release sila kapag nare-release na yung eggs ng isda. Kasama yan sila guys. May eggs dyan, no? Tapos yung ano ba yan? Yung post-ovulatory follicles is nasa labas lang siya. Kumbaga, parang liquid type siya. So, ito yung ano guys, yung pagmamature ng isang oocyte. 'Di ba yung oocyte is immature egg cell. So, ganito siya. Ito yung process niya para maging mature na yung isang oocyte. First is dadaan siya sa ano, meiosis, tapos DNA replication, then vitellogenesis, tapos may germinal vesicle breakdown pa. Tapos noon, papasok na naman siya sa ano, sa prophase 1, metaphase 1, hanggang sa magiging mature na yung egg natin. Reporters ay si Ian.
So, hi, my name is Ian Aldanedo. I will talk about the reproductive strategies. In fish fertilization, eggs can be either external and internal. In many species of fish, fins have been modified to allow internal fertilization. Similarly developed of the embryo can be external and internal. As to theory loaded, describe reproductive strategies in terms of the development of the zygote and the interrelationship with the parents. There are 5 classifications of reproductive strategies: the ovuliparity, ovoviviparity, histotropic viviparity, and hemotropic viviparity. Ovuliparity means the female lays unfertilized eggs, the ova, which must then be externally fertilized. Here, the fertilization takes place outside the mother's body, with the male and female fish shedding their gametes into the surrounding waters. The example of oviparous fish include the salmon, goldfish, cichlids, tuna, and eels. Next is oviparity. Oviparity is where fertilization occurs internally, and so the female sheds zygote or newly developing embryos into the water, often with important outer tissues added. Here, internal fertilization requires the male to do some sort of intromittent organ to deliver sperm into the genital opening of the female. The species example here are the sharks such as horn shark and the oviparous rays such as skates. Next is ovoviviparity. Ovoviviparity, the eggs develop inside the mother's body after internal fertilization, but receive little or no nourishment directly from the mother, depending instead of the food reserved inside the egg, which is the yolk. So here, the, the fertilization takes internally and the eggs develop inside the mother's body, but it has not received any nourishment directly from the mother. Instead, it is depending on the food reserve inside the egg itself, which is the yolk. The example species here are the group guppies, angel sharks, and coelacanths. Next is viviparity. Viviparity is development of the embryo inside the body of the parent. There are two types of viviparity, the hysotrophic viviparity and the hemotrophic viviparity. Hysotrophic viviparity, the tissue eating, means embryos develop in the female's oviduct obtain nutrients by consuming other tissues. The embryos develop in the female's oviduct, but the nutrients came from the other tissues such as the ova or the zygote. The example species for the histotrophic viviparity are the shark, such as the short fin mako and the corbigel, but there are few on the bony fish as well. It is the half-big Nomarhampus ephraarti. Next is the hemotrophic viviparity, the blood eating. Means embryo developed in the female's or male's oviduct and nutrients are provided directly by the parents. So here, the embryos develop, it's either with the female or the male's oviduct. And the nutrients came and provided directly by the parents. It is the similar structure or analogous to the placenta seen in mammals. The example species here are the serperches, split fins, lemon shark, seahorses, and pipefish. Next is hermaphroditism. Hermaphroditism occurs when a given individual in the species possesses both male and female reproductive organs. Can alternative between possessing first one and then the other. So hermaphroditism is a species with both female and male reproductive organ. Usually, they are sequential, meaning they can switch sex, usually from male to female,
Protandry,
and
female to male,
protogyny. The example species here are the groupers, fishes, and wrasses. Hermaphroditism as species as well are less commonly can be synchronous, meaning they simultaneously possess both ovaries and testicles, but they cannot function as either sex at any one time. So they possess the both ovaries and testicles, but they cannot use it simultaneously if they are dealing with the reproduction. So next is sexual parasitism, is a mode of sexual reproduction in which the males of a species are much smaller than the female and rely on the females for food and protection from predators. So here is the example species here is the anglerfish. So why the anglerfish is sexual parasitism? So aside from the female anglerfish is much larger than them, they are more stronger to fight the predators. As you can see in the picture, there are the female anglerfish and attached with some of the male anglerfish. That is that's what you call the parasitism. They are parasite because they need and they rely on the female for food and protection to the predators. Some anglerfish, like those the deep sea ceratoid group, employ these unusual mating methods. Because individuals are very thinly distributed, encounters are also very rare. Therefore, finding a mate is problematic. When scientists first started capturing ceratoid anglerfish, they noticed that all the specimens were female. These individuals were a few centimeters in size, and almost all of them had appeared to be parasites attached to them. It turned out that these parasites were highly reduced male ceratoids anglerfish. This indicates the anglerfish use a polyandrous mating system. The elkhorn sculpin, or the Alchyptis elongatus, is a marine thalius with a unique reproductive mode called internal gametic association, where sperm are introduced into the ovary by copulation and then enter the micropillar canal of ovulated eggs in the ovarian cavity. However, the, the actual sperm egg the, the actual sperm egg fusion does not occur until the eggs have been released into seawater. So next is inbreeding. Inbreeding means decreased production phenotypes such as growth rate, fecundity, and survival while increasing the number of deformed offspring. So in breeding depression, traits that displayed in breeding depression were offspring viability and maturation time of both males and females. It considered to be due largely the expression of homozygous deleterious recessive mutations. The next is inbreeding avoidance. Occurs based on competition between sperm of rival males from achieving fertilization. In competitions between sperm from unrelated male and from a full sibling male, a significant bias in paternity towards the unrelated male was observed. Sexual strategies. Here are some species that observe their sexual strategies. Goldfish, they are egg layers. Breeding season is in spring season. If males chase females, prompting them to release their eggs by bumping and nodding. Bumping is to move and nodding is to push or touch. Eggs hatch within 48 to 72 hours, which attach to aquatic vegetation. So next is carp. Spawning season is between April and August, depending on the climate. oxygen levels of the water, availability of food, size of fish, age, number of times fish has spawned before, and water temperature are all factors known to affect when and how many eggs each carp will spawn to will spawn at any one time. Lastly is the Siamese fighting fish. Before spawning, male Siamese fighting fish build bubble nests of varying sizes at the surface of water. When a male becomes interested in a female, he will flare his gills, twist his body, and spread his fins. The act of spawning takes place in a nuptial embrace. As you can see in the picture, here is the nuptial embrace where the male wraps his body around the female, each embrace resulting in a release of 10 to 40 eggs until the female is exhausted of eggs. Incubation lasts for 24 to 36 hours, and the newly attached larvae remains in the nest for the next 2 to 3 days. So that's all, guys. I hope you learned something in our topic. Wow.